everyone, welcome to my weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So this one, just so you know, is a recording because I'm not able to join you guys live this week and I wanted to have something still for you to enjoy. So please do remember you can always contact me via my website that's at the bottom. And hiding, there we go, there's a little contact me section, and that website is also your go-to if you see something in this video that you would like to purchase. Pardon me. Items from there can be shipped anywhere in Canada, and if you're in the States or elsewhere, then there is a little icon up at the top that can say find my demonstrator or find a demonstrator, and they can certainly help you to find somebody in your own country as well. So I have a fun little card for you. This is a fun fold, and it is featuring one of my probably favorite bundles in the annual catalog. I know, annual catalog seems a while ago. We've got so many other things going on, but sometimes it's nice to go back to the basics and look on page 46 and 47 of our annual catalog. So here is where you will find this adorable Zoo Crew suite, complete with the Zany Zoo Stamp Set. There's little dies, there's fun paper, and there's also some ribbon that coordinates with this as well. So what I wanted to do with this little pop-out card is to teach you how to do it today and to remind you that you can also replicate this using a variety of other suites. If you go back in my list of videos, there are a few cards that you'll see with the same layout, but using different suites. I know, for example, there's one with the celebration daisies, there's a motorcycle one, so you can kind of use whatever you have and make this design work for you. So let's get busy. What we're going to start with, you're going to have a lot of cutting and embossing with this one, but I promise you it's worth it. We're going to start with a piece of Parakeet Party. And this piece of paper is going to be 5.5 by 7 3/4. So 5.5 by 7 3/4. It's a little different than our usual starting piece. And we need to do a little bit of scoring on here. So maybe I should grab my scoreboard just to show you guys. We'll do this part together. So I've got my score lines in place because I wanted them ready to go, but I'll do this with you anyways because I know they are very faint. So the first one is going to be at 1/4 of an inch. That's the first one. Then we're going to 1 1/4, 2.5, 3.5. So we'll do that once again. 1/4 of an inch, 1 1/4, 2.5, 3.5. And you are going all the way down. I just had this done already. Okay, so keep the scoreboards handy because we'll need to do a little bit more scoring later on. But for now, you can put it aside because we're going to do a little bit of folding and then paper additions on this piece. So with a bone folder, because you want nice crisp lines, we're going to keep our large section here at the top, and then we're going to fold all of these lines inwards. This is what's creating this little box section. Okay, we're making this box right now. Fold all of these inward. I'm going to move this because the camera's focusing on that instead of me. All right, so if you can imagine, got all the parts we need to make a little box, but we need to attach it. So what I would like to see is on your workspace, lay that big flat piece down so it's kind of on the table. And then let's see 2 big sections and this tiny little one. Hiding in the back is going to be that third section. Okay, keep that in the background. Then we're going to grab our glue. Pardon me. And do tiny little dots. You don't need a ton on this little strip, but your tape is going to be too wide to go on here. So will your seal. So glue is your best bet. We've done teeny tiny little dots all the way across, and we're just going to tuck this underneath. Oh, hold on. Glue is still wet. Good. We don't want to do that yet. Let's add some designer paper. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. We need a piece of DSP down there. Sorry, hopefully no one put it down, but glue is not dried yet, so we can easily do this. You might need to reapply the glue, but it should stay wet for you. Okay, here we go. Designer series paper, 4 inches by 5 1/4. Reset so that we have 2 panels showing. That skinny little one, tuck the skinny little one down and press it into place. So you should see at the moment 2 panels and this large section in the back. I like to put a large block on top of this just so it doesn't move. It'll give it a couple minutes to dry, and it gives us a chance to do something else in the meantime. So we're going to come back to that panel later, and we're going to focus on this front panel, just getting that cut and ready to go. Okay, so front panel here, we're also using a piece of Parakeet Party. This one will be 4 inches by 4 1/4. Okay, grab your scoreboards again. On the 4-inch side. So make sure that this is lined up to 4 inches. I'm going to turn it that way. Okay. This is 4 inches. We're going to do 2 score lines. So, oh, I dropped it. Hold on. There we go. Need my little stylus. We're going to do 2 score lines. One of them is going to be at 1/4 inch. The other one will be at 1 1/4. So 1/4 inch, 1 1/4. Nice crisp lines. That parakeet is so bright. I love it, but very bright for you guys to see. Now you can put your scoreboard away. You don't need it anymore. And we're going to do a little bit of folding on this piece. So keep your large section down here at the bottom and just fold this top one backwards and that second one backwards again. Just keep in mind this is that little pop-out panel. So what we're creating is this front piece here. Okay, that's ready to go. And we have some designer series paper to cut now, both for the base here and for the top of this little pop-out. So let's cut all 3 of those, and then we should be about dry and ready to start assembling. So the 2 long ones, these ones that are going here, they're both going to be the same pattern of paper. One of them will be 1 inch wide, and then it's going to be 5 1/4. The other will be 3/4 inch wide by 5 3/4. So those once again are 3/4 inch by 5 1/4, 1 inch by 5 1/4. Then for the top of this piece here, it's your choice. You can do the same pattern. You could do the back side if you had something that worked, or something completely different. But this piece is also going to measure 3/4 inch, but it's only going to be 4 inches long. So we want it to fit on top of this little section right here. And you can go ahead and attach that one, you might as well. So double-sided tape or glue. And this will be off your workspace. You don't need to worry about it. Okay, so this guy we're going to put to the side for the moment because we're going to attach our designer papers to this large piece now. Okay, you can take your block off, save it because we'll need it once more, and you'll put adhesive on the back of both of these. The large one will go in the bottom, the small one will go in the top. As long as you start with the large one, you'll be able to tell where it goes. Go. Okay. There's my large piece. And here's my small piece. Now we're going to do a little bit of assembly. So I would like these two pieces to be attached together. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to start by attaching the bottom part, and then we'll come back and add the glue to do the top. So the reason I put the designer series paper on this is so we can easily know now this is the front. So turn it over, and on the bottom of the back here, this is where we're going to put just one strip of seal or tape. Okay, so just one nice strip along here. Take that off, backing. And on my base, I'm confirming that I'm still seeing two of those pattern sections and then that one large background at the top. So this piece is going to line up kind of in the middle of this bottom section with, you know, about a 1/4 inch or so from the bottom. It doesn't need to be exact, but you're going to have a equal border on the left and right, then leave yourself a little bit of space on the bottom part here. Okay, then you can attach that. So at the moment, if you were to pop this up, bottom's attached, but your top is still hanging loose. So that's okay. Flatten it again. We're going to do the same thing we did with the first little lip by putting some glue on. And this time our designer paper's there. We don't need to panic and add it. Little dots of glue. Making sure this is flat onto your desk. And I can still see two sections of small rectangle and one large one. When I tuck this piece under, squish it down, it will be perfectly aligned because I have laid it flat and everything's equal. So put your block back on there and put that to the side. Now we get to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to start working on the turtle's stage area. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is that background. So we start with just a piece of basic white, and I'm going to do some blending on top of it to give kind of a background pattern. So this is 2.5 by 4. That's my piece of basic white. And you'll want some sort of scrap or cardboard to do this technique on because you don't want to get mess everywhere. So what I'm using is the pumpkin pie ink. Opening that up. And a blending brush, because that gives me the nicest blending look I find. You can use sponges, you could even use a sponge dauber, you can even use a Kleenex. but I just really love our blending brushes. So when you're using blending brushes, just go in a circular motion on the pad. That will pick up some ink. And then I wanted a nice dark space for where my focus is going. And then from there, I'm going to make the rest a little lighter. So tap off anything on the side that might be like an ink clumpy or something. And then you can just start building your color. Okay, so I'm only putting color in the middle part, not going right to the edges, just adding a little bit of focus to the center of my card. Sometimes we go outside in. This time I'm going outside or inside out. Okay. And you can always add color and make it as dark as you want, but I'm pretty happy with that. I've got a nice little section of orange in there, and I might as well keep it on the side here because I'm going to actually I'm going to cut all my pieces first. I think that will be the easier choice. So move this out of your way. For these little pieces here, the Zany Zoo Dies, this die set here, comes with a curtain and the stage topper. So these two are what we're going to use to make the curtains. There's also this teeny tiny die here that has two little curtain strings that are completely optional. You can cut those out if you would like to. I'm going to show you how I cut these two pieces because there's a little trick to it. So to start with, for the top of your curtain, you'll want to start with a piece of black cardstock that's about 3/4 of an inch by 4. And we're going to put this onto our machine with a scalloped edge at the bottom. If you were to put the scalloped edge at the top and hope you got a different pattern, this little strip is all you're going to get. Okay, so make sure your scalloped piece is down here at the bottom. And then we need to cut out 2 of these curtains. So I've cut out one from my die, and let's do the other one together. Got our massive cut and emboss machine. We're always working on top of base plate number 1. Because we're using dies, we need that thin little shim, number 2, and one of your obviously beautiful clear cutting plates. Mine are no longer beautiful. Then we're gonna put our, I can't really show you, then we're gonna put our paper on and our die facing downward so that that rough metal edge is facing the bottom. I'm also gonna put my curtain piece on, but I need to do that in place, otherwise it might move and I'd be sad. There we go. Put your second clear cutting plate on top. Mine just happens to be purple because it's a way for me to show the difference between my top and bottom plates at class. Fortunately, the purple one's not from Stampin' Up, so don't fall in love with it. But it works for me. Okay, rolling those through. Leave us with one more of these curtains. And this little guy for my topper. Okay. Noticing my one curtain, some sort of goop on it, so I'm just going to roll it through once more. Get a new one. Sometimes scrap paper should just be scrapped. Okay, don't need your machines anymore. Or I guess you do for your turtle later, but I cut one out for myself already. Okay, here we go. Here's my little curtains. Don't forget to put your dies away so they don't get lost. Now, the funny thing that I want to show you guys is if you were to take these pieces and put them with your beautiful little background, oh no, they do not fit. They are too long. So that's the fun part about this card, is we have to do a little trim job. So that's okay, don't panic. We're going to put our 2 curtains on either side, like we want them, over, and we're going to add some dimensionals, because those are what we're using to pop the curtains out. And then we'll do some trimming. So this card was not designed for the full length curtain, just having a mini curtain instead. So I'm going to put these dimensionals just shy of the tops, because remember, those tops are getting cut off. And if you have the mini dimensionals, you can actually fit one right in this center point, and that will keep everything nice and balanced for you. Okay, so doesn't matter at this point which side is which, everything's identical. So try and make this about even, where you've got part of the top hanging off and part of the bottom. We want, you know, your center point to be as even as possible. Okay, so I have about 1/4 inch of each of the curtains hanging off the edge. Going to do the same thing with this side, trying to keep about the same 1/4 inch on the top and bottom. Okay, now you'll turn this over and just snip off this excess part. If you wanted to grab your trimmer, you certainly could. Might be a little, I don't know how quick it would be because you have to grab the trimmer, but it would certainly be straighter. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. That looks great. And because we've got the dimensionals hiding in the back, don't worry if these pieces seem a little loose, they're still going to be attached to the card. Okay, now on this one here, I tucked my little curtain underneath because I've seen curtains done both ways, but maybe for this time we'll be a little ambitious and put it over the top, and you can see which one you like better. So just a little hint, we're going to put tape over the top of these curtains here so that your scallop curtain has something to hold on to. But then because we popped these curtains, these side panels up on dimensionals, we will need to do the same to the top. So the easiest thing to do with that is just put your dimensionals straight along the top of your stage. And then you can attach this piece. We've already cut it down to size properly. And if you didn't, if you were off by measurement or something, it's easy to trim at this point. Okay? Line this up right to the top of your stage. Go. Adorable, right? I know, he's so fun. Okay, so you might want to go ahead and cut out a little turtle now, because then you can visualize where he's going to go on your stage. So my suggestion is just cut him out at least, put him in place, and then you can stamp your sentiment and some music notes before putting him on top. So I like to use my Memento Black Ink. That is a fade resistant dye ink. That is absolutely perfect if you're using blends. So that's what I stamped my turtle in. And if you're stamping on top of another color, like this one, they won't bleed together. Okay? Oh, that one needs re-inking. Oh well. Moving my turtle, I'm just gonna add a few music notes because they're cute. He can be on top of some of them. That's why it doesn't matter. And then we can add him. We can color him now or later. I'm gonna just go ahead and pop him up on dimensionals. So I have him in place. Then I might as well color him just to show you the colors I used. Not do all of it. All right, so if you're interested in matching my little turtle, I chose the light and dark Parakeet Party for his body shell, and then the dark pumpkin pie for this back of stitching or spots on his shell like this. Okay, so there's the dark. And then the light and the dark Parakeet Party, you can kind of add details with. So I did the light for his arms and legs and head. And then I went back and forth on his shell, alternating the colors. Just a reminder, you do want to use that Memento Black ink. You stamp something that you're coloring with blends. Otherwise, these blends might pull out some of the color from something else that you're doing. Here's the light. I always do the light first because if I've made a mistake and colored incorrectly somewhere or kind of come over a line, the dark color will easily take over and it won't really matter that I've made a mistake. It'll just look like a little bit of shading look. One other tip with these blends is, just in case you didn't know, there are two ends. So one has this little line, that's the fine tip. This one here, that's what I prefer to use when I'm coloring. There is this fat side, this guy, that's what I use if I'm doing shading on a really large image, like a large flower or even a background. That's where I'd use that big thick tip. So just keep in mind the two options you have so you're not getting frustrated. And then I think I did grab the Smoky Slate light and dark for his little microphone, but I won't make you wait for me to get those. So it's looking good so far. If you wanted those little curtain clips, like I mentioned, you can cut those out and just add them with a tiny dot of glue on those curtain edges. They will hang over. They're not going to be perfectly fitted. They'll kind of hang over, which might look odd, but when it's on the card, it'll be fine. Okay, looking better. Let's get this onto the card. So this part here should be dry at the moment. And this little white feature is going to go right in that space at the front that you have free. Okay, so I'm using my tape because it's easy. It's handy. I like to do the whole perimeter on this one because there's a lot of weight on this one white piece. This one can get tucked with a nice even border all the way around on the front. And then if you want, if you've got some gems of some sort, you can add a few details. But I grabbed some. Well, I have some gems hiding here. These are in our holiday catalog. They're in the Modern Garden suite, so they're probably retired by now, but that's okay. You might have some lying around. Any sort of gems will work. I will come back and color his little microphone. Pop it up. Give it a nice crisp line. So you've got this kind of a look. Now, if you wanted, one extra step is to put a piece of white on the back of your card. So this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I did stamp a few little music notes, but that gives you the ability to write on the back of the card as well. You might decide you just want this kind of as a display card, and then of course having writing on the back might not be something that you want to offer. So it's up to you. You can leave the back blank and then it just kind of looks like the card backing, or you can add this extra detail and have something to write on, because of course you can flatten your card and write a little note and then pop it up again. That flattening feature also means that this can fit inside one of our standard envelopes. If you fold back this way, it won't fit, so make sure you're folding upwards, and this little section should fit in an envelope for you. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this card. I know it's not wintry, it's not Christmassy, it's just adorable. And we need birthday cards all year round. So hopefully you enjoyed the little kind of break in holiday season and you found something that is really adorable and cute to play with. So thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, because then you'll get notifications every time I go live, or like this week when I just post a video, that there is a video every Tuesday at noon, whether it's live or whether there's one just popping up on the site. I look forward to crafting with you guys again very soon. See you later. Bye.